Many people ask me about the glamorous professions of modeling and photography. There are the teenagers who want to be models, and this includes both boys and girls. And there are the young photographers who are just starting out in their careers. I'm asked by housewives and secretaries, people from all walks of life who want to develop a new skill like modeling, something a little more exciting than they find in their everyday lives. I hear from the amateur photographers of all ages and from professionals who specialize in other areas of photography. They all want to know what it takes to get into this type of work. All these people seem interested in the glamorous side of photography. Why not? It is glamorous.
Meet Neil Montanus, senior advertising photographer for Eastman Kodak Company for many years. Neil has traveled around the world photographing people from the rich and famous to just plain folks. Glamour and glamour photography have always played an important part in his photographic career.
When most people think about the glamour part of glamour photography, they think about the lifestyles involved. Well, that's only natural. A lot of the excitement and the style of the illusions we create do carry over into our everyday lives.
Karen Bernardo has been a successful model for the past 6 years. She's currently living in California, pursuing an acting career.
Be more dramatic with your movements of your body. Overdo it a little bit. That's it. Overact in a sense. Okay, now break that with a little bit of a smile. Just smile, just a little. Come on, that's good. That's fine. Eyes back to me now, just eyes in the camera. A little more of a smile. You're having a good time. It all begins on the shooting set, and don't let anyone kid you into thinking that it's not a lot of hard work. Professional, part-time, or amateur, photographer, model, or makeup specialist. It takes more than talent to make a glamour session a success. It takes a lot of hard work. All right, Marlene, if you'd just take care of that, please.
Marlene Maggio has been both model and stylist. An owner of her own production company, Aura Productions out of Rochester, New York, Marlene is often called upon by Neil and others to handle makeup, wardrobe, and props for a photo assignment. Karen's modeling career featured numerous assignments for large international corporations like Xerox, Kodak, and AT&T. She's posed for commercial work for many of the national ad agencies and appeared in such publications as 17 and Bridal Magazine. Karen attributes much of her quick success to the poise she gained as a teenager when entering and winning several beauty contests.
One of the first things you learn in this business is the value of planning. Thinking about what you're going to do in advance is a key ingredient to success in any photographic endeavor. The photographer has to think about the set and what type of background to shoot against, the type of lighting and how to use that lighting to create the desired special effect. Then there's the matter of appropriate clothing. Now, sometimes an art director and a stylist will help in the planning. The photographer must think about makeup, even if someone else is applying it. You should know the look that you're after so that you can concentrate on how you're going to achieve it. The set, the background, the type of light, the look that's to be created, these are all important to the model as well. I know of no successful model, even those at the top of their profession, who haven't been called upon during their careers to bring their own wardrobe to a session or to do their own makeup. The real go-getters, they take the initiative. They find out in advance as much as they can about their assignments. The choice of set is limited only by the imagination and by the creativity of the photographer, the art director, or the set designer. And of course, the budget. But today we're going to concentrate on the basics. So we'll keep the backgrounds simple. We're going to use just this plain, seamless paper backdrop. And Jim, if you'll hand me a piece of tape on your side there.
Usually, Neil would rough in his lighting in advance of the model arriving on set. Today, however, he's asked Karen to take her place early in order to demonstrate the effect each light has as it's added to the scene.
Let's start off by showing you some ideas about basic portrait lighting. I have here a small reflector light that I'm going to use to demonstrate the effect of various positions of the light on the face. Most of the lighting that we see that strikes our face comes from the sun, doesn't it, Karen? So we are used to seeing shadows that are cast downward. So normally, the light that we use, our main light, which this is called, or the key light, as we sometimes call it, usually is at about a 45-degree angle. It seems to be the most flattering light that we can see on the face. Now, you have seen, no doubt, pictures taken of people at high noon, where the sun is directly overhead. Oh boy. And then they wonder, why do I look so terrible? It's because there's dark shadows under the eyes and under the chin, and that they just simply look terrible. And conversely, if we bring the light underneath, that's very unnatural, isn't it, Karen? That's how they make horror movies in Hollywood. Give us a monster face, come on. You can see how unnatural that lighting is. The compromise is about a 45-degree light with the nose shadow, if you can see, running approximately down the smile line to give the most roundness, sparkle in the eyes. So with that demonstration, we'll show you what is being used today. The trend today in lighting is to use a large light source of this type, very soft light. Jamie, would you turn the light on, please? We'll demonstrate the kind of lighting. Karen, step up toward me a little closer. That's fine. Notice how the light is a very large light source. In this case, we'll need it because we're trying to cover her full length. And notice also that there are no shadows to speak of. Just a little bit of shadow on this side, which we will then use a fill-in card. But at this point, this light standing by itself is the principal or key light source. And it's at a 45-degree angle, if you'll notice. Jamie, for those budget-minded people, bring over a very simple soft box that you can make your own. That is with the use of just an ordinary white sheet hung on a couple of light stands and shine through one or two lights, whatever you need, and it works almost as good. Jamie, I think we would now, if we had asked you to bring in the fill card, we'll lighten the shadow side of the face just a little bit. Walk in slowly. Notice how in the hair area and the side of the face it's being filled in. Now take it back out of the scene and let's look at it again so we can show clearly how it works. Bring it in. Notice how it becomes much lighter and down the edge of the body. That's fine. Okay, Karen, the lighting looks very nice. You look lovely. But I think we need a little more separation of the body from the background. So I have two edge lights standing in behind the model that I'm going to adjust and turn on so that it gives her a nice separation in the hair and along the lines of the body. Would you turn on the back lights, please, and let's see the effect of the edge lighting. Okay. Now, if you notice how nicely the hair is illuminated along the edge of the body on both sides, how nice she stands out from the background. All the lights that we're using are electronic flash. And I've chosen this particular unit because it is capable of very fast recycling time. Less than a second between flashes. Now that, in conjunction with a 35 millimeter motorized single lens reflex camera, gives me the capability of shooting very rapidly and with a long film load, 36 exposures. And in this instance, I'm using a lens of 135 millimeters in focal length so that it gives me a pleasing perspective of Karen, and I'm able to work away from her at a comfortable distance. I guess we're all set, Karen. Whenever you're ready, let's take pictures. Now, don't face me directly from the front. Turn your body, angle it to the side, and bring your left foot and toe out toward me. That helps to narrow the angle of the leg. Throw the hip over a little bit. We want lots of fluid motion. That's good. Okay. Okay. Keep changing. That's good. Okay. Twist around the other way. That's nice.
Both photographer and model quickly come to appreciate the benefits of a motor drive camera and quick recharge on the lights. You increase your chances of capturing that perfect look if you're ready to shoot when your model is. Sessions will move along faster and your models will show less fatigue.
Okay, now this gives you something to do with your hands too, doesn't it? Just go through a series using the barbells. They're very colorful and it looks really great. I've noticed that many of the young people looking for careers in this area are still struggling with who they are and what they believe about life in general. Now, make no mistake, glamour photography is predicated on an appreciation for the human body and how that body can be presented on film. Now, this is true whether the model is male or female. And it's true for centerfold models as well as for those doing local clothing commercials. And it's even true for models appearing in office equipment advertisements. Their bodies are important. I mean, they help sell the product. Otherwise, they wouldn't be included as part of the picture. So what I'm trying to say is that if you're uncomfortable with the human body, or you think that it is in any way sexist to want to flatter the human form, then reconsider a career in glamour photography. It's probably not for you.
Glamour photography places the model at the center of attention, where she must appear relaxed and at ease. Her look, her smile, her body language are part of the model's natural ability. But getting the most from that talent is up to the photographer.
One more. Just one. The fingers extended just a little along the leg. That's nice. Okay. Let's pause for a moment, Karen, and take a little break and talk a little bit about photographic posing. This is an area where both the model and the photographer perhaps have weaknesses. And I think it would be a good time to demonstrate some poses. Now, that's certainly not the way to pose, is it? Okay. Why don't we start off by having you turn your body to the side. That immediately gives us a slimming effect. And point the foot and the toe back toward the camera. Notice now how much nicer the leg is shown. If you rotate the foot a little bit, you'll see it'll push the hip out. Karen, turn back toward me just a little bit more. That's it. Now rotate the hip and push out. Now start again. Let's do it again. Rotate on the ball of the foot. Notice how the hip goes out to the sides with the classical S curve that you read about in art. So you can rotate, and you can also, of course, this pose will work doing it the opposite way. Switch around, Karen, and do that. Sit like that. And this foot then can be used in a position behind you more. As you drag the foot behind you, Karen, a little more yet. You can bend your... See, we're talking curves. Everything is soft curves. Get away from straight lines. That's the anathema in photography, full-length photography. Okay, what about hands, Karen? That's always a problem, isn't it?
They're always in the way.
Right, and what to do with the hands? Now, what do most people do with their hands? Right, immediately go to the hips, which is okay. But there are certain ways of placing the hands on the hip, and I'd like to call on Marlene if she would come and help us with the hand posing. Marlene, would you help us out, please? That's it.
Now, move the hand down the leg towards the knee as you're accenting your body. kind of curve it up and slowly rise up your leg, almost a sensuous feeling. And the same with this hand. If you use your hands like an instrument, as though you're playing an instrument, they're just very graceful. So they don't become heavy or the largest part of the picture, and Neil have to have you push away. Just kind of go up the leg. No, like so. Start with your thumb and then work all your fingers down. Hit your leg, slowly go up the leg, and do the same on this side. Okay, how's that feel? Comfortable?
Okay.
Try it again. This kind of feeling. Just slowly up the leg, and then in doing so, it raises the shoulder, gives this nice feeling in here. Plus, you like feeling your skin. Okay, there's also props. Shall we use some props?
Yes.
In addition to her busy life as a stylist, Marlene is also a noted judge of beauty pageants. She feels that the experience helps young people learn to present themselves to an audience in a graceful manner.
Pulling the hair back, right. Something to do. Going back to that same feeling. All right, take it out of your hair. Use one stem down. This kind of thing. Put it down and by your leg. Kind of like this. Almost ready to be worn.
Okay.
Okay, and then you can even raise them up like this, and then you do this. And in doing so, your eyes will immediately go toward camera, and you're going to feel good about yourself doing that too. See, everything you do, you want to feel a real contact with you, the prop, the camera, a sensuous feeling.
Okay.
And maybe a scarf. That always works nicely. Thank you, Neil. Now, scarf adds color, it adds grace, and you could use it as though you were doing a dance, this kind of thing. You know, just let it kind of move around you. Okay. Whatever you feel a scarf does. Everybody has their own feelings on a scarf. Slide it down your body. Turn your back to the camera. Let it kind of fall in parts of you. Swing it around a little bit. There you go. Nice feel. Upright your face. Feel this kind of thing.
You see, Karen, now the idea is that we are trying to get away from straight lines, right? We emphasize that again. Right. Even bending the arm just a little bit helps. Doesn't necessarily have to be a hard angle. In fact, we try to stay away from right angles because they're too hard. We like the softer angles, the curves. What about the head posing? Should we talk a little bit about the head? The head can be used in a multitude of positions. You can rotate 120 degrees to the side. You can tip your head to the left and to the right, and you can tip the chin down, and you can look back up. So it's really up to you and the photographer to determine the best position of the head. But the point I'm trying to make is that the head should also have a little tip. It should look relaxed. Because again, straight up and down, go ahead, show it. Straight up and down is just too stiff. We get back to the straight line thing, don't we? Relax, let the head tip to one side or another, and the whole picture assumes a relaxed look. And that's what we're trying to get. Okay?
Okay.
Good. Let's go back and take a few pictures.
All right.
Okay, give us some action. Ready? Get moving. That's good. That's nice. Keep twisting around. That's good. Curves. That's it. Soft curves of the arms and the legs.
Neil, Marlene, and Karen all agree that a basic knowledge of posing technique is essential for the beginning model, or for anyone serious about winning a beauty contest. They suggest hours of practice in front of a full-length mirror until actions become second nature, a part of the model's everyday way of life.
One of the secrets of posing is to learn to anticipate. The quicker you get to know a photographer and what he's looking for, the faster your career is going to advance. The model who can move from pose to pose without a lot of coaching saves both time and money. Your sessions will finish quicker, and the price you can command as a model will rise. Professional training can definitely speed up a model's career, but that doesn't mean that you can't get started without it, but it certainly helps. There are a number of schools, seminars, and workshops available. But before you lay down any hard-earned cash, make sure you check out what they offer. Find out exactly what they teach, and if you can, make them show you what their success ratio has been. Because there's a lot of good ones out there, but there are also a lot of rip-offs as well. I find most photographers to be very helpful to the inexperienced model. They're always looking for new talent, and they want models who are easy to work with, so that they don't have to work quite so hard. As you grow and your assignments expand, you work with more experienced photographers. My career has moved ahead like this, a step at a time. Much of my success came from what I learned about working a photo session and how to pose. And a lot of this came from the different photographers that I've worked with along the way.
At the beginning of this program, we did a cute little thing with Karen by having her appear as a schoolgirl without makeup. We see this done all the time in the movies and on TV, but it makes a point we often forget: how important makeup and poise are to the model and to the final results seen on film.
Neil, like any serious photographer, will discuss the look he's after in advance with the stylist and makeup artist. Here he describes how he wanted Karen to appear during the program's opening glamour session.
Get some little bit of glitz in her eyes and really show the same kind of sparkle we have here.
Okay.
And perhaps the hair, then you'd want to pull back the hair in a little more severe style, perhaps for this high style look, would you?
Okay, fine. Sure, sounds wonderful. Can I impose on you?
Sure.
Can you take this back?
Glad to hang it up.
I'll start. Okay. Okay, Karen. Okay, now we're going to start with Karen. Karen's face has been scrubbed, moisturized, and it's ready to go. Right, Karen?
Yep.
That's one of the first pluses in having good skin, keeping it nice and clean and moisturized. Now, step number 1 is concealer. This is to take away any dark circles under the eyes and to give a nice glow and an instant nap. Keeps you bright. Always blending and being very gentle under the eyes, because this is one of the first areas of aging. You don't have to worry about that yet. So we take this and keep blending, like I'm doing, so that there's no marks or harsh lines and everything happy. If by the time we're through, we'll have a nice natural look. A little bit on the top, under the brows, again, creating a highlight. And if there's any creases in through here, or laugh lines as we like to call them, bring a little bit in through here as well. And some people have a furrow. Bring it up here. Any places where we want a little bit of lightening, because light brings out and dark recedes. Okay. Step number 2 would be our foundation, which is as close to Karen's color or a shade lighter or darker. Staying as natural to your own color is your safest measure. This too we're going to blend, and this is to even off skin tone and to give that nice, not tan look, but even look, to enhance what Karen already has. Working in an upward motion, a little bit under the eyes, a little bit on the eyelids to prepare for your makeup, which will be all different colors we're going to use on Karen. You can go over the mouth, under the chin, and down the neck. Being sure to smooth and to blend right into the hairline. There's nothing worse than to see somebody's face made up with a harsh line that stops right here instead of going underneath. That's one of two things. Either the color is too intense for your own color tone, or you haven't blended properly. Let's see, Karen. That looks good. It's a nice color for you. My next step for Karen is a translucent powder that I find using a large puff idea and pressing into the skin seems to work better for me than a powder brush. Adding enough powder to the face will set it, take away the shine, and allow me not to have to re-powder her too many times during the shoot. Being careful to make sure it's even all over, especially up on the eyelids. This too will take away the oils and allow the eye makeup to last longer as well. A little bit under the chin, to the neckline. There. Now my base is ready, and we'll start glamorizing Karen. Now I think what we'll do is we're going to add a little bit more to her cheekbones. So I'm going to use a dark brown and a clean sponge. Take a little bit of that onto the Karen, right in through here. Just dabble it a little bit. It's almost like drawing. You know, use the face as though your face is a canvas, actually. And you just get the feeling that you're drawing a picture. Now this is where I would like a little bit of cheekbone for Karen. I just keep moving this along till it's the degree I want. Take your finger and kind of smooth it. Again, we don't want any definition or any dark lines, but we definitely are starting a cheekbone contour. Contouring is a lot of fun if you know how to do it. If not, practice, because it could be a disaster. After we've started with this, I'm going to take a light pink blush and go over the apple of Karen's cheek. Smile for me, Karen. Right in through here, and again smoothing it all so it blends in with the contouring and just becomes a light feeling. Any excess, bring it up through here and through here. Right now I'm going to underline Karen's eyes, which is a very important part, which of course all steps of the makeup are. It has to be a complete face, as close to the eyelashes as possible. And in this instance, I'm going to use black because we're getting very dramatic. If it was going to be a daytime thing, I would use dark brown. And again, on the top, Karen, I'm going to close your eyes. And you can just draw the skin very little, just so it gives a little bit of a tautness. A little darker up here, and keep going right straight through. Again, close to the eyelashes, and a little broader at the outer edge, because this is where the darkest part of everything is going to be, and we're going to work in an upward motion. Never go down. See how dark and harsh that is? It's very unflattering. So you take a brush, and we're going to close your eyes again, Karen, and we're going to smudge it. This is called smudging. This is which makes a nice soft feeling and just a little halo kind of feeling around the eyes. Nothing very sharp. Sharpness creates aging. It just doesn't have an appeal to it. Okay, open your eyes. And again, we're going to smudge the bottom, working it very gently so that that line becomes almost misty. Makeup is very beautiful, but you don't want somebody to look at you and say, she's made up. You want them to think of a woman as being beautiful, soft, and lovely. And it's a total picture. Now that becomes a softness around her eyes opposed to that harshness. Now we're ready to do the other eye. Now, never be afraid of making a mistake in applying makeup. That's what Q-tips were invented for. Just take them, the Q-tip, and clean off the eye area, or if you feel it's a little heavy in certain spots, they're wonderful. Now, we're going to add a little color to Karen. Start with the shadows, and we're going to get very dramatic with that, in keeping with the black eyeliner. Everything's going to have a very dramatic approach. So I'm using what is called Angstluster. And you start right in through here as the heaviest part, kind of making a V shape, and then bring it over to the bridge of the nose, like so, and working up, keeping this part free of makeup. No color in through here. Now with the shape of Karen's eyes, because she had the spans between the eyelashes and the eyebrow, it's not a large spans, so we don't want to close Karen's eye more. We want to open it up, and in doing so, I'm keeping this light and keeping it heavier here. Open your eyes, Karen. Then she gets this feeling, still allowing there to be a lightness in through here and a lightness here. Again, always blending. There's very little on my brush, but I'm going to take the excess that's on the brush just to smooth it out and to bring it to the corner. Again, grabbing that little Q-tip, cleaning out any excess I didn't want to go here or here. Then we're going to take a clean brush, so that the other color won't rub on. I'm going to use a silver in the center of Karen's eyes to get that glitter. Just right in through here, a ball of silver. And we'll put a little bit in through here. And let's see, look at me. Now I think we'll also bring a little bit of blue into this and add a little bit right in through here. Again, playing with colors. Makeup should be fun. And if you're going to use evening makeup, it's even more fun because the sky's the limit. We could really have a good time with it. Daytime, no. Again, a little bit more of the silver to intensify. And Karen's eyebrows are very nicely shaped. She doesn't need much help with those. I'm going to take a little brush. And I find that using eyeshadow in the eyebrows is a lot softer than using an eyebrow pencil. So I'm taking a little bit of sable brown, and I'm just going to give a little definition in through here wherever it's sparse. Like so. And we'll take a brush and brush it. And the only thing that's left for this eye will be a little mascara, or a lot of mascara I should say, but we'll start with a little. And I think maybe underneath I'm going to use a peacock blue, just to give even a little more, just right to the edges, the corner only. I'm not going to carry it through to the edge, just a little bit of blue in through here. And we'll take that blending brush again that I showed you, always blend. Would you look up, Karen, please? Just a little bit more. There. That's one eye done. Let's see, Karen. Okay, now we're going to go over to the other eye. Okay, look up. Now I'm going to add a little more powder to set everything that I've done so far, including very gently on the eyelids. And then I take a smaller brush and put a little bit of that translucent on there and just kind of go over just a little more blending. A little bit into the eyebrows so that they don't look harsh. And with the Q-tip, I'm going to clean out any little areas in the corner of the eye where makeup may have settled. And sometimes it does through here. I'm going to blend the little wings because we don't want them. We want them to just kind of go off into nothing on either side. And now we're ready for mascara. I'm going to use black on Karen, and black is usually the rule of thumb for no matter what your coloring is. The eyelashes really do a nice job of finishing off the face, and if you use nothing else, blush and mascara are really important, along with, of course, your lipstick. Now, Karen, look right about here, and I'm going to do the top of her lashes first. Just working very lightly to coat each one. If you find that the mascara is getting clumpy, take a comb, an eyelash comb, and just comb through them to separate them. And don't try to get all the mascara on in one coating. Go back for the second. Let that dry. Karen, look up. Take the eye brush like so, and then just go right along and swish it back and forth to get the lower lids. Again, using the comb to separate them. And the lower lids are just as important as the top. Again, you're completing a look. And if you should, by any chance, goof a little bit and some goes in the bottom, again, that Q-tip, clean off any of the areas that may have settled. And Karen has a nice full mouth, so we don't have to go outside the lip. I'm going to go inside the lip line. If her lips were narrow, we'd go on the outside. So when buying a lip brush, look for mauve or a tan tone so that it really resembles your own lip color. This also prevents the lipstick from bleeding, and it does improve the lip line as well. Most of us do have an irregular lip line, so we're improving on what we have already. And take your finger and just kind of blend it a little bit so it's not too pronounced. There we go. I'm going to do Karen's lips in a cranberry today. So I just start in through here, painting. And always work with a lip brush. You have control, the color is richer, and it just gives a pleasing effect. Again, doing a face is like making a beautiful painting. Blot your lips. Now I'm using a deep tone on Karen today because we're giving a very glamorous evening look. Again, you change the colors to the feeling that the picture is supposed to portray. And I'm being a little more dramatic, a little harsher than I would if this were a bathing suit shot or outdoor or just a business effect. We're just getting a little more glamorous. Now I'm going to take a little bit of lip gloss and just put it in the center here, give a little more sheen, just to create a little bit of a pout on the lower lip. And then when the light hits this glisten gives a nice feeling. This can be overdone as well. If you feel that there's too much, just blot, take away some, feel your way through. When it looks right, stop. Okay, now I'm going to look this over. See what I would like to take away or add to. I think in this instant I'm going to add just a little more color to her cheeks with a smaller brush because I don't want to really add any definition. I just want to emphasize a little bit right here and through here, a little bit by the chin area, a little bit on the forehead, and across the bridge of the nose. And smooth it out with your thumb. A little more powder just to set everything. And Karen is ready for wardrobe. For the photographer who has to be his own stylist, there are a few basics to remember. Usually you want a woman to look made up, and you want that makeup to highlight her best features. Darkness above the eyes can be elegant and exciting. Under the eyes, it's more likely to be the Bride of Dracula, sunken and pale. This is easily corrected with a little concealer. Cheekbones, if they're the model's best features, use them. If not, create them. Lipstick. Color tone should be kept complementary to the subject and not too dark on the lips, or they'll look pasty. And make sure that everything is blended. No harsh lines with a rouge or eyeshadow.
These simple makeup techniques are basic to every photo glamour assignment, and they are just as important to someone considering entry to a beauty pageant. As anyone in the glamour business will readily tell you, they're important in everyday life as well.
One of the questions I'm asked most often, especially by young people, is what does it take to become a model? And I tell all of them flat out right that it takes a lot more than looks to become a success. It takes desire, determination, and drive. Now, having desire is the easy part. Most of us have wanted to be something at one time or another, a fireman, a secretary, astronaut, or whatever. But the desire to become a model must be a serious one in order to maintain the determination that you're going to need along the way. You have to set your goals and be determined to stick to them. You can't be swayed from the path you've chosen, no matter how difficult the road appears. It comes down to a matter of drive. You know, it's a little like owning a brand new automobile without an engine. It may look great, but it ain't going nowhere without a driving force. And you must be that force. There's a lot of competition in the field of modeling. You have to be aggressive, Persistent and willing to work long, hard hours if you want to get ahead. We'll try something a little different now with Karen. We're going to shoot a head and shoulders portrait. Okay, let's start with the key light. And we're going to move it a little bit closer into the camera. If you note, however, that we are using the same soft box type of lighting that we used before on the full-length shot, but a smaller unit this time. I have it in close. Gives a beautiful look of roundness on the face. So it's still at a 45-degree angle that we talked about. Put your chin down just a little lower. That's fine. Now, secondly, we're going to add our fill-in. And in this instance, it's very simple. It's a piece of reflector card, which will give some beautiful light to the eyes and to the lips, and will reduce the shadow under the chin and under the nose. Now watch as I tip and turn. You notice that? Look at the eye sparkle. See the reflection come on and off? How nice that looks in the eye. See the extra gloss on the teeth and the extra filling light into the hair as well. We're going to now turn on two lights that I have placed in the rear of the set that will illuminate Karen's hair. Okay, we're all set now to turn on those back hair lights. Okay, that's lovely. And we're looking now to see if there's any spill light that falls onto the face. And I see there is none. We've adjusted them properly, so they're okay. And the final touch here is going to be the addition of a background light. Would you turn on the light, please? We have it shining on the blue paper. And we've added to the light a theatrical gelatin filter, a blue theatrical gel, which intensifies the color. So notice what a nice glow we have around her shoulders and around the back of her head. It's really going to stand out from the background. It'll be lovely.
Neil often prefers to shoot glamorous close-ups through diffusion material in order to soften the image and help blend the skin tones together.
A simple way to make a lens diffuser is to buy a lady's stocking and trim out part of it. Take a small filter frame or adapter ring that would fit onto your lens and stretch it across. And you can use single or double thicknesses. Then there are many commercially made filters on the market that you can buy, and each one of them has a slightly different characteristic of softening. And you may want to experiment. Perhaps you can borrow them and try them at home or in the studio. There's this particular make also, and it's easy to use by sliding them right down in this filter holder, and you can double them up. You can use diffuser 1 sometimes in combination with a diffuser number 2 to get all different kinds of effects. I have 3 filters that we're going to use, and let's see what the effects look like. Would you put on filter number 1, please? Okay, you see a slight softening of the image. It's rather pleasing, but I'd like to see even more. Let's jump up to a number 3. This is rather extreme, and I think you'll agree that perhaps we've gone a little bit too far. Shall we try a number 2 filter? Somewhere in between those two, and let's see what effect that gives us. Chin down a little bit, Karen. I rather like that. That gives a very ethereal, lovely, soft effect. And let's go with number 2. Marlene, would you give a last-minute check with Karen's hair there and her makeup to be sure everything is in good condition?
Modeling's not an easy occupation. Often you're asked to hold up for hours, working under hot lights, or having to maintain a static position. Neil cautions newer photographers to remember the model and provide them with regular breaks. It's the only way to keep a model lively and looking her best.
Okay. Thank you, Marlene. Guess we're all set, Karen, to start shooting. The shoulders are turned. That's fine like that. And the head back toward the camera. Let's see it straight on. See what happens when you do. Okay, now the shoulders look like a football player, so angle the shoulders away from me a bit. That's it. Now bring your head straight on. Let's see what you're... Okay, generally speaking, it's better if you turn the head a little off to the side as well. That's nice. See, the shape of the face is a lovely oval. Chin down just a little. Get the eyes wide open. Ready? Let's start with a kind of a serious look. Ready? Get set. That's nice. Moisten the lips just a little bit with your tongue. Gives a little sheen to the lips, makes them sparkle. Okay, now just softly, that's it. Break the lips with a little smile. Good. Okay, now more smile. That's good. Oh, great. Okay. Let's try one where you reverse your position and rotate to the opposite side. One nice thing about this lighting that I'm using is the fact that it is very forgiving. That is, if she can move around and you don't need to worry so much about adjusting the lighting because it is so flat and rather broad lighting that you can move well within the umbrella of this light. Okay. Again, I think if you can keep your chin lower, Karen, that it enhances the look of your eyes. Your eyes are wide, you have lovely eyes, so we want to show them to their best advantage. Nice. Now that you can, when we start, the shoulders are turned about the right angle. That's good. And let's turn your face away from the camera just a little bit. That's good. Chin a little lower. All right.
There's one more.
Okay, one more. Fine. Wonderful to have a stylist around who can do these things.
Like you.
Okay. Let's start with a smile. You look so nice there. That's good. Okay. Now, quite often a full smile is not very nice looking because you see too many of the gums. So it's best hit the smile really full. Let's go ahead. That's it. So now just drop off with a smile a little bit right there. See, go full and then just come down a little bit. Let's try that again. Hey, really smile. That's good. Now come down a little bit with the smile. That's the spot right there. It's beautiful. Now let's lower the smile. Come back to a little more serious mode. Good. That's nice. That's it. Just a hint of a smile. Good. Okay, let's see a little more teeth. See your teeth, Mary. You have lovely teeth. Let's see them sparkle. Good. That's nice. Okay. Turn and kind of around, and let's see you look back over your shoulder a little more. Just a little exaggeration of the body turn. And just swing back. That's nice. Okay. Yep. And show that a little. That's fine. Karen, you may have turned a little too much. The shoulder begins to look a little bulky. Come back just a bit. That's fine. And now we can see a little of the other shoulder. And I'd like to have you look off camera this time, Karen. I'm going to put my hand here. You see my hand? Now just follow my hand out of the scene. I want you to look up so that you're looking just below the main or the key light. Doing head and shoulder pictures like this, movements are very subtle, so you ask the model to move very, very slowly. Okay. You're dreaming about faraway places, Karen, I can tell. Okay, steady. Now raise the eyes a little more. Just look up. Chin down just a bit. Now raise the eyes. Now try it with the face turned back toward me a little more. It's very important that the eye direction also be correct. The eye direction should be about where the face is aiming. That's it, off in that direction. Okay, that's fine. Let's try that. Okay. Marlene, you might fix the hair along the neck there. You see, to hide the wrinkles of the neck. You notice that? If you can pull the hair a little forward, of course, the softening filter helps that a good deal. But if the hair can be placed, okay, there's a little piece of hair jutting into her cheek, and that would be fine. Good. Okay, now Karen, one more shot like that where you're looking off and raise the eyes a little higher. That's good. Look up a little higher with your eyes. No, not your chin, just your eyes. That's good. Steady. That's nice. Now bring your eyes back to my camera. Leave your head where it is, but just roll the eyes back to me. That's nice. Now smile a little more. Come on. That's good. Nice. That's great. Okay, keep going. Okay. Fine. Okay, let's stop and change the look, Marlene.
Karen's assignments have been interesting and exciting during her 6-year career. When questioned, she always comes back to her early experience with beauty pageants. She feels that this is one of the best ways to learn to meet and deal with people and to develop a friendly and winning personality. She learned much of her makeup and hairstyling this way, as well as most of her runway technique.
Okay.
Karen urges young people to participate in this type of event in order to build confidence and self-esteem.
Rearranging here.
Now
There we go.
let me look through the camera and see about our crop. I'm going to move just a little bit closer so I can crop just a little bit.
Okay, now we have another look of Glamour
Okay, that's good.
in a
Karen,
very inexpensive way.
Fine. That's very lovely. It'll give a nice new and different look. The hairstyle has changed some. Karen, tip your chin down a little bit. That's nice. Keep the eyes open. Turn the face away from the camera just a little bit. That's nice. That gives a nice shape to the face. Notice how the nice roundness on the cheeks and the lighting. All right, Karen, well, let's start serious. That's it. Steady. Good. Karen, blink your eyes a couple of times just to get them more relaxed. Sometimes you hold the eyes open too long, they get stilted. They don't look as relaxed as they should. All right, let's try it. Looking back in the camera. That's nice. Good. Oh, she came alive. Okay, happy. Good. That's nice. That's touching the lips.
A little lip gloss.
Okay. A little bit of lip gloss is called
Adding
for.
lip gloss is one of those little tricks most stylists are aware of. It'll pick up highlights and give the lips a shiny, wet look. Even though the makeup is hours old, gloss can freshen it and make it look like new.
Okay. All right. Right. Give us a pout. Can you pout for us a little bit? That's nice. Okay. A little different look. That's fine. Good. A little bit of a tease in the eyes. That's nice. Good. Good. Let's do that again. That's it. With the teeth showing this time. Just part the lips so we see just a little of the teeth. Good. Okay. Now, one more where you're really happy. Come on, I'll drop the smile down just a little. That's it. Right there. You have, would you put your hand up by the brooch? And let's see what that looks like if we use the hand. I may want to pull back just a little bit more to include a little more of the hand. Marlene, could you perhaps turn the hand a little more on the side so that we don't see the back of the hand quite so much? That's it. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, let's try that now, Karen. That's fine. Looking chin down again, just a little bit. Open those eyes up. Blink the eyes. Get them. That's it. Wide open. Ready? Set. Nice. Now just part the lips a little. That's good. Okay, and then increase your smile. Can you? You have something left? Beautiful. All right. Many models and photographers work on a freelance basis. Then there are the models who choose to let an agency market their skills. They are, in effect, their own bosses, and this brings with it a unique set of problems, the business end of modeling. It would be impossible to cover all the information that you'll need to know in this one video. That would require nothing less than a short course in business. But what we can do is to share a number of thoughts with you based on our own careers and experience. The kind of things you probably won't find in the textbooks. So let's begin with you, Karen. You're a successful model. You're now moving on to an acting career. Could you tell us a little bit how you got started in modeling?
Sure. I was 16 years old. I was naive. I really didn't know what I wanted to do when I was in high school. I didn't have a career path. Until my friend Marlene suggested that maybe I pursue a modeling career. So I took her advice and started to do some modeling, and I've been doing that for some time now. And since then, I've pursued an acting career. So I followed my dreams, and I moved out to LA, and I've been doing acting now for 2 years. And I'm still going to keep pushing away until I succeed.
Maybe you could tell us what some of the attributes that a young, aspiring model should have.
Yeah, there's a few basics, okay? They really should have a nice face to work with, nice body, keep in shape. They should be very disciplined. They should research what they're going for, you know. They should read books. Take the time to really concentrate on what they're doing, what they're working for.
Marlene, could you give some pointers for a daily routine to help a model? What should she do, in other words, when she's not on camera?
Actually, she should do the same thing as when she is on camera, Neil. I feel that in order to be a good talent model, or whenever you're in the public eye, or just for your own personal self-esteem, one should have a regimen on herself, and that is looking well all the time, cleanliness, proper exercise and food to maintain your weight and your physical appearance, as well as your mental abilities. She should wear makeup on the street, whether she's in front of the camera or not. People and women, males, whatever, have a tendency to look at models as a role model and somebody that they can copycat and look up to. So if they see a model in the magazines and then see her in person as to not looking so well, it's very disappointing. So keeping yourself looking and feeling in perfection is probably one of the nicest things you can do for your career.
Is there a difference between regular street makeup and photographic makeup?
Not really, Neil. Makeup that is used on the street is actually the same type of makeup, except it's used less than. The makeup that's used in front of the camera would have a little more intensity, something that would bring out their best features and beautify what is already there, but make it more intensified, as we tend to pale. In front of the camera, the lights and such take away our coloring. So what we're doing is actually using the same product line, but only in a heavier manner.
Neil, I'd like to ask you a question. What do you expect of a model?
Okay, it's my turn. All right, I'll try to answer that one. When a model walks out on a set, I would like to see that she has a lot of energy and that she can light up from within, because the product that we're selling, we need her help greatly, and she's part of the package. She's got to help sell that product. And another thing that when I frequently work with professional models, they surprise me. Quite often, they give me a surprise, something I have never thought of, couldn't begin to think about in terms of body movement or expression, and it's a wonderful surprise. It helps to make the picture a success.
Neil, on the other side of that, what are some of the problems that you face with models?
Lateness. Late on the job. That is, showing up late. When you have a lot of expensive people waiting for her and she doesn't arrive on time, that's very, very costly. And secondly, to have a model that has not gotten her beauty sleep the night before. That is, she gets to bed late and she comes in looking tired and drawn. Even you, Marlene, I don't think can cover that up sometimes.
It's true.
And finally, the lack of experience that some inexperienced people have. They don't know how to pose. Their expressions, they're a one-horse expression, a smile, and that's it. And it's very difficult to draw out of them what you need if they have that inexperience. That's where practice will help.
That's right.
Karen, another question for you. Do you have any advice for photographers to help put the models at ease when they're on the set?
Yes, I feel that in the beginning of the shoot, the photographer should introduce his crew and his client. Makes the model feel more comfortable, knowing who she's working with on a personal level. He should relax her, make her feel as comfortable as she can. He should discuss the shoot. He should ask what's expected from her, what he's looking for, so she can prejudge what she's going to do out there. He should also critique her, because a critique helps a model feel comfortable also.
You do modeling in a certain area, but there are many areas of modeling, aren't there? And could you tell us or discuss some of the other types of modeling that are available to young people?
Okay. There's illustrations, there's industrial photography, there's TV commercials, runway modeling, there's promotionals, which you know include the trade shows and the press releases. There's all kinds of modeling.
Marlene, I'd like to ask you a question a little bit about the work that you do. How do you become a stylist? And is there any training for that kind of a position?
I can only speak for myself, Neil, but I guess what started this is at the age of 14, I was modeling, and I was very blessed with an inborn type of talent in art, which I've always sought and pursued and still do today. So between the fact that I have modeled through the years and my creative level in art and love for makeup and clothing and everything in the industry, it just all fell into place. It's a feeling that you have. I think all the school in the world can't teach you to become creative. So anything that gives me the ability to use my creativity, that's what I do in my styling work.
There are some terms that we use in the business that maybe some people do not understand. Perhaps you could give us definitions of about 3 terms that I can think of that might be helpful. For example, what is a model release? And what is a model's portfolio? And what is a composite? Why don't we start off with a model release?
Let's start with the release. Is a very important legal document that the photographer prior to the shoot should be sure that is signed, that will allow him to use the talent for whatever the project or shoot was, or even if it's things that are being done without a purpose. Anytime he takes a picture of a subject and the talent's face is going to be shown, a release has to be signed. In the same respect, it guarantees the talent payment for his or her services. So without a release, you have no right, or any photographer has no right, to use that person's picture without their giving them the okay.
Okay. And then a
And
portfolio?
The portfolio is a tool that is in any business, and in this particular instance, when you're in modeling, you're selling yourself, so you are the product. And this portfolio is a grouping of pictures of a subject in all different mannerisms and costumes and poses and such, so that when you go on a, quote, go-see, which means you're knocking on doors, showing your wares, so you take your portfolio with you, which is a zippered case of whatever size you're comfortable with, and it's bringing them to photographers and advertising agencies to show that you are photogenic, because being beautiful is just a very small part of being a good model or actress or any of the talent. It just gives the feeling. I have seen people who are rather unattractive and plain, who in front of the camera become very beautiful. You realize this through their portfolio, and I think that's, without this, you really can't sell yourself. And the same with the composite, which is another important tool in your business. It's a card about so big, and it has 4 or 5 pictures of the person on it, and it's, again, a variation of poses and thoughts and feelings that you bring to the different photographers and agencies and stylists in your area or outside of your area, and it's used on their files, and this is how you're remembered. Through that, when a client comes in and they said, we need a blonde with green eyes that looks like a Karen, pull out the composite and you say, I've got just the gal for you, and in doing so, her investment allowed you to remember her to get the next job. Neil, through your professional years, what is your advice to photographers starting out?
Well, it's somewhat the similar advice that I gave to models earlier in this videotape. The 3 Ds, if you remember, I said you need the desire, you need the determination, and most of all, you need the drive to keep going. It's a very competitive field today in photography, and you need to work very, very hard. You need a lot of practice. You can do some freelancing on your own to try to sell pictures to certain markets on your own to get going as you continue your regular job. You can get a start as a photographic assistant in a studio and learn the business that way. And if all else fails, you can go back to photo school and learn more about it. Marlene, I'd like to get back to you, though, on another question. That is joining a model agency, a good idea for a model?
Yes, it is. I think after they freelanced for a while, and I'll go through both reasons why I feel this way. In freelancing, it allows you to get some experience under your belt before hitting an agency and finding yourself rejected. It also will give you the benefit of getting your portfolio together, because you could meet up with photographers that we were just talking about who are just starting that need the experience as well, and perhaps you can do a little bartering. The talent will give their services, and he in turn will allow him or her to have some pictures free, or he, for their portfolio. You can work for less money without having to have a set fee that an agency will set on you, which again gives you more experience. And then I think as you go along and you find that you really want to get involved with this, and you feel that you're good and you're told you're good, and you find that people are calling you, then I would seek out a good modeling agency. This guarantees you the billing, which means you get paid properly. The agencies know what's happening before you could even know what's going on. The advertising, in other words, they'll send you on go-sees. They'll make it so that the castings are all set up for you. The wardrobe that you'll need. There's just a multitude of things. But I will say that prior to getting yourself involved, find one that is successful, that will work for you, that will do the best for you, not just put you in a holding position just to have your monies, and also to read the contract. Bring it to your lawyer, have him look it over, and really understand what you're getting into. Because again, this is your business and the product is you. So the way you treat it and the way you protect it is the way you're going to be successful.
It's a two-way street, of course. The model agency has the option of perhaps turning you down when you do come to them. We all realize that. And that may be a very good point for some models to begin. But don't be discouraged if a model agency does turn you down. Go to another agency or work harder at your profession and then go back to them. Keep trying because they have an interest, because if they can't sell your services, they won't get their commission. So they won't take you on unless they feel that you will be a success.
Because I think once you're with an agency, you have the option of getting into big-time modeling, because very often they'll send you on to Europe, and you'll have a whole wonderful plan ahead of you. It's quite a feeling.
Karen, when you're posing, are you aware of how you look to the camera?
I'm very aware. But if you're fortunate enough to have a wonderful stylist like Marlene, then you have to trust in her, because she is your eyes. Her job is to look you over and make sure everything is in place, and she knows her job 100%, so you trust in that. If you're not fortunate enough to have a stylist on set, then I suggest that you ask for a mirror next to the photographer's stand so that you can pose yourself comfortably, and also ask for your makeup on the side.
Would you say that dramatic training is helpful for models?
Oh, most definitely. It not only gives them the confidence and the ability to be animated, it also gives them the strength to go on to other things, such as TV commercials, theatrical aspirations. And if you notice, or if you've ever taken note, that very good models eventually go on to acting. So doing this for yourself is a plus. It furthers your career, and it lets you go off into other areas. Yes, I always advise the gals and the guys to take up drama.
Neil, let me ask you another question. Where can photographers and models learn about their professions?
Well, you can do it by not even leaving your living room. There's a wonderful place in New York called the Models Mart that has many, many publications for models. And if you write to them and ask for a book list, they have so many things that you can read and find out more about the trade, much more than we've been able to tell you today. For the photographers, Kodak has a wonderful group of publications, and you can learn anything from very basic photography on through to very professional photography. So visit your local camera store. A final word of advice, Marlene.
I think that the most important thing is, my advice to all of you is, don't wait for someone to knock on your door. It's just not going to happen. Neil and many good photographers are looking for you. You're a talent that's needed. While you're sitting at home pondering, somebody is out there fulfilling your dreams and making the money. So follow what you want. Be strong enough to accept the rejections that may come along, but don't let that hold you back. The only way you're going to see if this is something you should do is by doing it. So get out there. Show your wares. Do what's best for you. Take a chance.
If you have a dream, follow it. If you fall flat on your face, well, who cares? You pick yourself up and you keep going. You say, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. And remember, it only takes one yes.
Karen, I love that enthusiasm.
Thanks.
And thanks to you and Marlene for sharing your professional experience with us.
Thank you.
Glamour photography, as you've seen, is a very specialized business. And it also takes special artistic talents to present the human body to the camera in its most pleasing form. So whether you're a professional with a career in photography or an amateur working at home, you'll find that the basics we've covered in this video apply to all figure photography. I do hope that we've given you some insight into how to get started in what can be a richly rewarding career, not to mention the fascination with seeing the images develop before your eyes. That's one of the great satisfactions in working in photography.